I thought that was him.
That's funny. Well, it seems like things have changed a little bit over the last couple of days. We talked to you on the phone, and everybody's buddy, and hey, we can't wait to do this, and it's fun. And now you're taking a couple shots at him in his weight, and his striking, and all that. So, what's changing?
It's all good fun. Well, we're getting close to the fight. That's what's changing. He stops being a friend, and he becomes an opponent, a victim, and that's exactly where I'm at now. I mean, we could be friends on Saturday night after he's woken up, but for right now, he's the enemy.
How do you feel coming to this fight? A lot of people are focusing on the psychology of you coming off that first knockout loss, how you're going to approach it, how you're going to be in the cage. How do you feel and how do you think you're going to react?
I feel great. I mean, the way I see it, over my career, I've probably knocked out 200 or 300 people. That was the first time I've been knocked out, so my odds are pretty good, If I've got another 300 knockouts of other people coming before my next knockout, then I'm happy with that, You throw punches, you roll the dice, and it's going to happen eventually. And I just got caught slipping. It was my own fault. I didn't give him the respect he deserved, and I just kind of went marching forward, winging a left hook at him 3 or 4 times in a row, and it was my own fault.
Is there any concern that maybe you'll be a little hesitant or gun shy if he presses forward immediately because of that fight?
No, I don't have that in my vocabulary. I'm not that kind of person. Getting knocked out doesn't hurt. You don't remember anything about it, and getting submitted don't hurt either because you can just tap out if it gets too bad. But the problem for me, the thing that I don't like about losing the fight, about getting knocked out, is that my opponent thinks he's better than me. And I know that's not the case, you know what I mean? I know Carlos Condit's not better than me. And I'm annoyed that now he thinks that. I gave him that impression by not giving him the respect in the fight.
So is that safe to say that that's a guy that's on your list now that you're going to be working toward?
I can't retire until I've knocked him out.
With you and Anthony, when everybody looks at it on paper and says this has got to be a slugfest, I mean, do you feel any sort of pressure to make it a certain kind of fight to live up to people's expectations?
I don't think so. No, I think. I mean, the problem is the situation I'm in now is that I'm coming off 2 losses. Regardless of how the fans in the UFC view me, I feel like I'm fighting for my job. So I've got to be a little bit smarter about it. I can't walk forward with my head in the air throwing punches because obviously I know he's got power. I know he's a big, strong guy. But at the same time, I don't fight because I want to make money. I fight because I enjoy fighting. I only do this because I like hitting people, and that's the reality of it. And this is the only place I can do it without getting in trouble. So, if I get an opportunity to get in there and throw punches with somebody, I'm going to do it, regardless of the outcome. I'm here to have fun, and that's what I'm going to do.
When does that switch go on for you between somebody being a friend and now you're a victim, an enemy, an opponent?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. It depends on the opponent. It depends on the build of the fight and the trash talk and if they buy. I mean, Anthony Johnson, he's not really bitten to anything. I've been poking fun at him on Twitter for the past few weeks and making comments about his weight. And I mean, he quoted Oprah the other day, and Oprah Winfrey, I mean, what's she got to do with MMA? You know what I mean? But I've been poking fun. He's not really bitten at anything, so fair play to him. I mean, I'm sure he's too tired from cutting carbs, but I'm having fun now, and now I'm in the hotel. I know he's here, and I know he's up for the fight, and I'm switched on. I'm ready to go now. I'm all Charlie Sheened out.
Have you prepared yourself for that reality that maybe he doesn't make weight? I mean, how do you approach an opponent that it's kind of disrespectful, right?
Personally, I don't care. It makes no difference to me. If he comes in overweight, then that shows me, a lack of discipline. It also means he's probably got more than 1 chin to hit as well, which is going to work out in my favour. But for his best interest, he's got to make weight. I mean, the fans are going to look down on him if he doesn't. Obviously, the UFC is not going to be happy with him, so the pressure's on him. I mean, I don't really care. Regardless of what happens, I've trained 11 weeks for this fight, and the fight's going to happen.
And obviously, like we said, everybody's expecting this to be a slugfest, but you said, you need a win. I mean, if there's an obvious takedown and it's just there, I mean, do you avoid it, or do you maybe at least think about it?
I don't know. If I even notice it, you know what I mean? I'll be hands up and marching forward, so I might not even notice a takedown, and that's usually the problem with me. I'm kind of one-track mind, and I've got two tools that are going to be aiming right for his chin, and that's normally what I'm thinking of. But who knows? I mean, if the opportunity arises and I can see an opportunity to take the fight, then I would take it.
Anthony said that being off as long as he had, that it's not going to affect him at all. No ring rust. You're a fighter. You know a little bit more about that perspective than we do. Do you believe that? Do you believe that he can be off that long and not have any effects?
It would affect me, definitely. I mean, I only fought twice last year, and I felt like I sat on my ass for the whole year. I mean, and I was in the gym every day, so it's very different training and training for a fight. I mean, if you're training and you're working out, there's never that same intensity, regardless of how hard you push yourself. As soon as you've got a target there and an opponent, it just kind of lifts you. It lifts your game, it lifts your efforts, and you just put more into the training sessions. So I know that he's, I mean, was it been 14 months since he fought, last 15 months? I know he's not tasted that intensity for a long time, and you know, whether he's been able to replicate that in training or not, being out for so long, I don't know. But that again, I mean, that works in my favour if it doesn't. I mean, you know, Shogun had a long time out after his fight before his title defence, and I think that showed in his performance against John Jones. I mean, it's got to affect you some way. You know, the more you do something, the more comfortable you are at doing it at the end of the day.
He admitted he got up to 230 pounds. I mean, what comes to your mind when you hear that he weighed 230 pounds maybe 2 months ago?
What comes to my mind when Burger King, pancakes and cookies. That's a huge weight. I mean, I know I saw some photographs of him and he was fatty. I mean, you know, he got fat, he got a head like a basketball, and that's all on him. You know what I mean? That's something that he's got to deal with. I wouldn't like a weight cut like that. I mean, I personally, I think I'm about as heavy as you can get for a welterweight, and I get up to about 210, 208. That's like a walk around weight for me. But anything over 200 is difficult to cut from, in my opinion.
You kind of talk about it and take jabs at him, but realistically, does it even play into the fight? I mean, do you strategically think that it's a good idea to kind of, you know, weather the storm a little bit and know that he's going to tire out before you do?
I certainly think that is a factor in the fight. I think that, I mean, that's been proven in his last few fights. You know, certainly in his second round against Josh Koscheck, as soon as it hit the ground, he really kind of looked like he didn't want to be there anymore. And I can certainly replicate that feeling for him. You know, I can make him not want to be in there anymore. And if he's going to fatigue at the same time, it's just going to make it a more uncomfortable night. And I feel sorry for him because that's going to happen. You know what I mean? Because, you know, he is a friend of mine, but I have a job to do, and he's the victim.
When you see someone come back from a surgery like Anthony Johnson, do you target that during a fight? Like, do you go after the knee, or do you just kind of go out, still stay to your game plan and just duke it out?
I go after whatever hurts the most. I mean, obviously that knee's going to be something that's on his mind, so I'm going to be working at it a little bit as well. But I mean, that's not the end of the fight. I'm not going to be able to finish the fight like that, and I wouldn't want to, because, you know, then the success is blamed on the fact that he's got an injury and he's come off a surgery. You know, I want an impressive win that's not related to the fact that I've targeted an injury. So I'll be working all ranges, but that is something I will bear in mind.
Cool. Thanks, Sam.
Cool.
Thanks.